Most respected Thai, dear sisters, good morning. Today is the 8th of December in the year 2020, and we are in the lower hamlet in the Dharma Nectar Temple, in the Assembly of Stars Meditation Hall. We're going to listen to 3 sounds of the bell. Let us look first of all at the Gatha for sitting down. Wherever you are sitting, not just in the meditation hall, whenever you sit down, at your desk, in the dining room, where else you sit? Yeah, wherever else you sit. So sitting here is sitting at the foot of the Bodhi tree. My body stable in mindfulness, no more agitation. So it's wonderful to be able to sit like that, and to be able to sit and not do anything. So every day we should have some time for that. And soon we will have 10 lazy days, I don't know how many lazy days. We will have some lazy days. And during those lazy days, we hope that we will be able to have time to sit and to do nothing. I'm very lucky. I have a beautiful view to look at. A beautiful view from my window where my desk is. Look at the sky. And the sky is always changing. And I can sit for a long time without doing anything except enjoy the changing sky and enjoy doing nothing. One of the privileges of being a monastic is to be able to do nothing. And Thai often talk about Thai as lazy monk. But actually Thai also did many things. But at the same time managed to be a lazy monk. So I hope in our lazy days we can be lazy nuns, if not before our lazy days start. And now I would like to say a little bit about the history of Gathas. So on the board you have the Gatha that is in the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is where the ancestors, or the ancestral Gathas of Thai, writing new Gathas, come from. And these ancestral Gathas are the Gathas that Thai himself practiced as a novice. And out of that we have all the new Gathas that we use today, which are in the book Stepping into Freedom. And you can see the root of the Gathas in Stepping into Freedom. And you can see the poetry of Thai in Stepping into Freedom. And what Thai has done to renew Buddhism. Because these Gathas, they were written in the Noka translation, huh? Would you? Okay. So these gathas were written probably in the second or the first 200 years of the Common Era. So they're very, very old. And after that, in the 16th century, there was a meditation master in China whose name was Anyway, I forgot his name a little bit. But he gathered together for novices to practice a number of gathas from the Avatamsaka Sutra, along with some dharanis, and he made that into what he called the daily Vinaya the daily Vinaya for the practice. So the gathas in the Avatamsaka Sutra, they come from one chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra, which has more than 30 chapters. And that chapter is called Purifying Practice. And it's written to help us purify our practice throughout the day. That is uninterrupted practice. So there's a gatha for everything. There's a gatha for crossing the bridge, there's a gatha for putting on your jewelry, and they're both for monks and for nuns, and for lay people. So that is where they originally come from. So they originally come from the Mahayana tradition. And then they were put in a book for novices. And then about 100 years later, another meditation master in China called Du Ti, who was a meditation master, a wonderful artist, he made a new book called the Essential Vinaya for daily use. Essential Vinaya for daily use. And that is what Thai, our teacher, practiced, and what traditionally is practiced in Vietnam, in Korea, in China. But now we have stepping into freedom, so we don't practice with that book anymore. And so just as a matter of interest, you can look and see the gatha for sitting down, which is underneath which Thai practiced. Chan means straight. It's the same word as you use for the Noble Eightfold Path. It means straight or upright. And Tan is the body, so my body is straight. It's a little bit, you can see how I continue in Thai's gatha. My body's stable. And then Duan also means straight. It's a different kind of straight. It means more upright. Straight and upright. Dwa means my sitting position. And then all the gathas in the traditional gathas, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, the second line is always the same. And the second line means you should. Dung means you should. And Nguyen means you should vow. You should vow, Chumsan, that all beings, all living beings, Chumsan is living beings. So nowadays we say more like I vow, rather than you should. But it's a meditation master telling you how you should practice. But in our gatha we more say that I will do something. So you should practice, you should vow that all living beings can sit. Dwa means to sit. And bodhi means bodhi, and dua again means the sitting place or the seat. So dua and dua. Dua is to sit, dua is the seat. May sit on the seat of enlightenment, of Bodhi, sit on the Bodhi seat. Dham is your mind, the last line, the mind not caught in anything. Vô trước is the name of Asanga, not caught in any object. So from time to time you can practice traditional gatha if you like, but we have very good, maybe more poetic gatha from Thai. So another related gatha to this one is the gatha for coming into the meditation hall. Entering the meditation hall, I see my true mind. Once I am seated, actually it says all drowning, all drifting and sinking stops. Sometimes we can drown in our sadness, we can drown in our fear, and when we come into the meditation hall we vow like that. And I used to practice that when I put my two hands on the handle of the door, I would recite the gatha. But I don't do that anymore because people are standing behind me, and so I don't want to hold them up. So now I come into the meditation hall and I stand a little bit to one side, and then I recite the gatha before I come before I come to my seat. I have been translating, and Sister Samadhi has been helping me to translate the Blooming of a Lotus from the new edition of Blooming of a Lotus in French into English. And in that new edition, Sister Den Nghiêm has written a new introduction. In her new introduction, she has a section which is called Recent Instructions from Thai on Giving Guided Meditation. So this means things that Thai has added personally to Sister Den Nghiêm or to the whole Sangha, has told us about since the original Chan Duc Từng Can Hẽ was written, to bring up to date. So for those of you who didn't have the benefit of reading French, I would like to tell you what these instructions include so that we can all be on the same wavelength, yeah, whether we're French, English or Vietnamese. So Sister Den Nghiêm was very lucky that she managed to attend Thai and go with Thai on many, many tours. Nearly every tour that Thai went on, wherever it was in the world, Sister Den Nghiêm would be with him. So she was able to hear feedback from Thai about leading guided meditation. And these are the things that Thai told her. So normally when you go with Thai, it is to lead retreats for many people, maybe 1,000 people. And in those people there are beginners, and there are people who've practiced many times before, but they keep coming to retreats in order to be able to recharge their batteries, even though they've practiced many times. So Thai, the first thing that Thai has taught, which is new and differs from the original Blooming of the Lotus instructions, is that we should not give instructions on sitting meditation or on the particular guided meditation we're going to use before we give it. So we shouldn't give a long explanation or even a short explanation. Today we are going to meditate on ourselves as a 5-year-old child, and then we will see our mother and father as a 5-year-old child. I said, don't give that kind of explanation, because if you do, then people start thinking in their head, oh dear, I'm going to have to see myself as a 5-year-old child, and they get caught in their thinking, and it detracts from the meditation. And in meditation, when we are guiding meditation, we don't want to engage the intellect. We want to get in touch with the store consciousness, our own store consciousness and the store consciousness of the people we are guiding the meditation for. So we don't use our intellect. And that is why we shouldn't have a long explanation or a short explanation before we begin. As far as instructions for sitting up straight, normally, or how to sit, normally those instructions should be given the day before in an orientation. And if that's not possible, we can always start by saying something like, breathing in, I relax my shoulders, breathing out, I sit up straight, or something like that. We can give it as part of the meditation, rather than instructions outside of the meditation. And we can begin with the chant. It's a powerful way for people to come back to themselves, the morning chant or the evening chant. So that's the first point. The second point is that Thai has taught that by the end of a retreat, everyone who has attended the retreat should be able to breathe mindfully, should know how to breathe mindfully, and should know how to calm and relax their body. So this means that at least the first 2 days maybe of the retreat, or the first day of the retreat, we need to give guided meditation for people to know how to breathe and how to calm and how to relax. And sometimes people say, oh, it's so boring, we do those meditations over and over again. But the thing is that every time you do that meditation, it's like the first 4 breathings of the Anapanasati Sutta. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Aware of the whole length of my breath. Aware of my body, calming my body, relaxing my body. Every time you do that meditation, you're a different person. Your body is different, your mind is different. The words are the same, but the experience in the meditation is different. So I've been doing that meditation for 35 years or something, and I still do it, and I don't get bored. It's because I'm always different. So the third thing that Thai instructed is that by the end of a retreat, everyone should know, who came to the retreat, how to take care of the wounded child in themselves and how to reconcile with their parents. From the beginning, Thai taught me how important it is to be able to reconcile with your parents, to have a good relationship with your parents. How important it is for your practice, because your parents are yourself. And if you cannot relate to your parents in a compassionate and understanding way, you cannot relate to yourself. So the Thai is very important, that meditation on taking care of the 5-year-old child. And again we may say, oh, it's so boring, we do it every retreat and people have to do it every retreat. I had an interesting experience with this meditation in the neuroscience retreat. And we had that meditation, I think, on the second to last day of the retreat. And then on that day we had a Dharma sharing. And in my Dharma sharing group, one person said that when they heard me say, breathing in, I see myself as a 5-year-old child, they nearly turned off the computer because they didn't want to do that meditation and they'd already done it before and it hadn't been successful. But they said to themselves, okay, I'll just try one more time. This is the last time. If it really causes me trouble, I won't do it again. So they stayed with it. And they said that during that meditation they were able completely transform and were able to stay with the meditation from the beginning to the end. And it opened up a new door for them, a door that they really could reconcile with their parents. And that person had suffered from child abuse. So that is why it was so difficult. But it's also very important. And sometimes we can change a little bit the words of that meditation because of how we feel in our relationship while we're guiding it. We'll feel maybe this word wouldn't quite be right. It's like in the book that we had in English, it says, I smile with love to my father or my mother. And then Thai say, no, don't say love, say compassion. Because I was sitting near to Thai, and there was a monk leading the meditation, and he said, I smile with love. And Thai turned to him, and he said, compassion. And so when it came to doing for the mother, the monk knew he had to use the word compassion. So now I would like to come back to the 3 characteristics of Plum Village practice, which we were talking about before. Now the first is uninterrupted. The second is đã về hả? Hiền pháp. Thank you. Hiền pháp. Drishtadharma. Drishtadharma. Cái đó là tiếng Anh muốn rồi. Present moment. Thank you. And the last one is lạc trú, dwelling. Happily. No. So, uninterrupted practice. The 5 particular mental formations: dục, thắng giải, niệm định, tuệ, zeal, determination, mindfulness, concentration, and insight. So we know that what we want to be uninterrupted is our mindfulness. We want to develop mindfulness, concentration, and insight. And so we need to have the other 2 particular formations of zeal and determination. And zeal means this is something we really want to do. I want it with my whole heart. We have to have that desire in order to be able to practice. And the second thing, we have to be determined. We have to say, I'm going to do it. However difficult it is, I'm going to do it. And that determination is what helps me to practice when I don't feel well. When I don't feel well in my body, and when I'm weak, I make the determination, this is what I really want to do, and I'm going to do it. So as far as uninterrupted is concerned, we need that determination, or I need that determination. And in fact, if we practice uninterrupted practice, then quite naturally we will be in the present moment. And if we practice correctly uninterrupted, we will be able to stay in the present moment and stay there with happiness. So in 2004, when we were in the Deer Park Monastery, practicing the 3-month retreat together with Thai, all the hamlets came together for the 3-month retreat with Thai. It's a wonderful opportunity. Thai gave us something which we call the Kung Fu sheet. And Sister Thoại Nghiêm mentioned the Kung Fu sheet. I used to have it, but my computer broke down and then I lost it. But luckily, Kung Fu sheet is here. This one comes from Yiu Dam. And lucky, huh? Not completely lost. So the Kung Fu sheet that I have here is a little bit different from the one that we practiced in Deer Park. You will see on it there are 30 items. It's quite a lot, huh, for you to fill in every day. And we should remember that in Yodram there's a lot of very young sisters, teenagers. Huh? So it's a little bit different from us over here, and a little bit different from our Sangha, which was in Deer Park at the time when Thai first gave us the Kung Fu sheet. So over the years, I have practiced adopting this Kung Fu sheet for my own purposes. which is a little bit different from how we were instructed to use it. So I will now tell you how the little sisters, the teenage sisters and young sisters in Yodram were told to practice, but I think it's not quite sufficient. So, this says practicing Niệm Thân. Niệm Thân means mindfulness of the body. So this Kung Fu sheet is principally about our body actions. And then it says, giving rise to mindfulness and maintaining mindfulness, that is uninterrupted practice, with 3 in-breaths and 3 out-breaths in each of the following actions. So it's quite sweet really, but I think it's not quite sufficient. Of course we want to follow our breathing in all our actions, that's quite clear. But if you say 3 in-breaths and 3 out-breaths, if the action takes longer than that, I don't know, you stop breathing or what you do. So I think we just want to say, to help us breathe mindfully and use the gatha, or to look deeply into our action, so that the action is not just breathe in, breathe out as a kind of mechanical breathing in and breathing out, but when you breathe in and out, you are wholly concentrated on the action so that you can look deeply and have insight. So these practices should contain mindfulness, concentration, and insight will come. So that is how I would change the instruction at the top. And then you put your name so that you can give it to your your mentor. Have a look how you're doing. And then you put the date, and every day, there are 7 days. It's enough for 1 week. And then it says you can design for yourself whatever sign you like, meaning I practiced or I didn't practice. And then you put it in the box alongside the action. So Thai told us that we could give ourselves a mark from 1 to 10. So if we practice really well something, we get 10, and if we didn't practice, we get 0. Then we would. So I never liked marks. From the time I was a school teacher, I didn't like having to give the children a mark on that, A or A minus. So I wasn't particularly, so I adapted this for my own use. I will tell you how I used it. So here you have 30 things. So you could, at the end of the day, and this is how I started, sit down and say, okay, I'll give myself a mark for waking up this morning. And then a mark for cleaning my teeth. But then I thought, well, I cleaned my teeth 3 or 4 times, so it was more difficult. And then all the way through. So then I practiced like that for 3 months in Deer Park, and it was very helpful for me. But then when I wanted to start practicing again, when I decided after we left Deer Park I would start all over again, because then there was a time I stopped practicing it. So I thought I'll do it my own way this time, so it's rather different. So this time I thought I will just choose one thing, one of these 30 things that I do many times in the day. So for instance, you clean your teeth 3 or 4 times. And then I will, every time I finish cleaning my teeth, I will either give myself a tick to mean, yeah, I was really there, I followed my breathing, I've followed the gatha, I got some insight while I was cleaning my teeth, I give myself a tick. And the next time I will give myself a tick. So here you have cleaning your teeth. So in that Monday, so you go tick, 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 how many tick? And you put that in after you have cleaned your teeth. You don't wait till the end of the day. So that's the first day, Monday. On Tuesday I will continue with the teeth cleaning, but I will add something else. So I will add, maybe here you have something called being in touch with nature. So every time I feel I'm deeply in touch with nature, I will come back to my room. Oh, now we have wonderful iPhone, iPad, whatever. We can kind of just press a button or something. I think we can do it that way. So, and then it gives 3 things, 4 things, and gradually increase more and more things that you add until you feel, oh, that's enough. But actually, the wonderful thing is that if you just do one action several times a day, completely mindful, then other things, they follow quite naturally. Like Thai, one of the things that Thai taught us is to choose somewhere to do mindful walking. Just the place you walk every day. But if you really put your whole heart into, say, from your room to the dining room or something, to walk each step in mindfulness the whole day, then you will find when you're walking in other places that you will also be walking mindfully. So it spreads out like that. So I'll go through the list of what you have here, so you can choose what you think is useful for you. The first is waking up in the morning, waking up mindfully. Well, it could be also waking up after your siesta. So maximum twice a day. You only practice this twice a day. Second thing is brushing your teeth. You can do that 3 or 4 times a day. The third thing is putting on your robe. You can put on your robe many times a day. Putting on your robe, I adorn myself, I adorn the world. The Pure Land is in the palm of my hand. Mountains and rivers together create. It's very lovely gatha. We can practice many times a day. Going up and going down the stairs. So, if I hear the clickety-clack, I know that my mind is not yet at peace. And how many of us, we have stairs to go up and down every day? I think I don't ever go up and down stairs since I've been in the lower hamlet. So we don't always have the stairs to go up and down. But one thing we can be aware, if we can hear the clickety-clack or we can hear the noise of our feet, maybe our mind is not yet at peace. Okay, next thing, putting your shoes on the shelf. Yeah. It actually says putting your shoes on the shelf, not putting your shoes on the mat in front of the door. So putting my shoes on the shelf, I vow that all beings, this is a little bit like Avatamsaka Sutra, have two mindful feet, have a pair of mindful feet coming in and going out in freedom. Next thing is helping yourself to your food. So maybe 3 times a day, standing in the queue, putting the food on your plate is also a wonderful practice. You maybe able to put 3 tick a day for that. The next thing is eating meditation. Also at least 3 times a day. If you have a snack, maybe more. The next is bước đi, steps, the steps I take. So that again is a very big thing, because some people have on their watch or something, they can tell them how many steps they take in a day. And some people say you have to take a certain amount of steps in order to keep healthy. So they like to keep track of how many steps they take. But that machine, it doesn't tell you whether your steps are peaceful or not. It just tells you how many steps you take. So unfortunately, we don't have a machine yet that does that. Or maybe one day somebody will invent a machine that can tell you how many steps were peaceful. So really, this is a very big item, taking steps. And for my own practice, I would divide it into many different sections, and then I would be able to tick off each different section separately. Made it easier for me. So there's something, taking steps in my room, and then taking steps from my room to another room, and then taking steps from my building to the meditation hall, and taking steps from my building to the dining room, and then so you have 5 or 6 different taking steps, and you can give yourself a point for each of them, or just concentrate on one of those particular ones. Next one is greeting each other. So this also is a wonderful practice. A practice I appreciate very much because it helped me to keep in contact with people. If every day you walk past each other and you don't look at each other, you don't greet each other, then you feel you lose contact with that person. And if you start to have a internal formation with somebody, and then you walk past them and they don't look at you, you don't look at them, it could mean that internal formation gets more. Whereas if you can look at each other and smile, then the internal formation will get less or go away altogether. So normally when we are novices, we are taught that we greet somebody, a sister who is elder than us. The first time we see that person that day, we don't have to greet them every time we see them. Although people who practice diligently, they sometimes greet every time they see. But that is what is expected of us, is to be able to greet someone when we see them for the first time of the day. Chan Duc, a lotus for you, a Buddha to be. So this means that we give ourselves time to really be in touch when we greet someone, and we say that the greeting, it goes from our heart to the heart of the person we are greeting. One time I wrote a song, and in that song one of the lines was, "Our hearts interpenetrate each other." And Thai said that is a good line in that song. And it's something I really like to practice. Not just when I greet somebody, but when I sit at a meal with people, other sisters, I really like to feel the energy from my heart going around into the heart of the other people sitting at the table. The next item is smiling. When I first came to Plum Village, I didn't smile very much. And Sister Chan Kom, she told me, you have to practice the smile. Smile once every half hour. So I had to try and look at my watch and smile once every half hour. And then we have a lot of guided meditations. So breathing in, I'm aware of my body. Breathing out, I smile to my body. And hardly anybody smiles, if you look at that time. So we should, when it says smile in the guided meditation, we should smile. Half smile, doesn't have to be. And when we chant the morning chant, body, a half smile is born on my lips. So we listen to the person chanting that, we have to, I think we should smile, while we listen to the chant. And during the sitting. And smile to our suffering. That helped me a lot. When things are not going well, and I can breathe in and notice that, and breathe out and smile, it changes things. Listening to the bell. That can either be something very superficial or something very deep. We can have a deep experience of insight and concentration by listening to the bell. Opening and closing the door means don't forget to close the door in the winter. Do we have a gatha for opening the door? Not yet, hả? Có chứ, có. Như thế nào? Okay, that's the one for in the book, opening the window. Yeah. Opening the window, I see the Dhammakaya. My heart obeys my heart. I don't know. Wakes up. Okay. Lòng nghe lòng tỉnh thức. Yeah. Tỉnh thức. Và sau đó? Yeah. A clear streamer in my heart. Huh? All right. So you can use that when you open the door as well, as when you look out of the window the first time in the morning. Okay, turning on and turning off the light. So we should remember that not just turning on, but when we turn off the light, we also do that in mindfulness. And I expect that is why certain actions like that we can do very quickly. And that is why probably the sisters in Yudam, they learned to breathe in and out 3 times. Because when you turn off the light, you could do it in less than 1 breath. So if you want to be mindful, you would use 3 in and out breaths. Washing the bowl, have many gathas for washing my bowl. What am I doing? A flower is blooming, a rosebud is blooming over there. Turning on the tap, we do many times in the day. And if every time you want to put a tick that, I turned on the tap mindfully, or a non-tick if you didn't turn on the tap mindfully, I think you will find you can do that many times. And the gatha is wonderful. Water come from high mountain sources. Water come from deep in the earth. Water flows and flows for us. My gratitude is overflowing. Washing my face is also a way. Now we have to come to the thing is dwelling happily. all these gathas, they help us to dwell happily. Really, if we want to transform our deep consciousness, we want to transform the seeds of sadness, fear and worry in our consciousness, in the depths of our consciousness, then the way to do so is by watering the seeds of joy in our daily life. That is a very important way of doing it. And by using the gathas, we can water so many positive seeds. So for instance, washing our face, we say the source of peace and joy fills my whole body. So that is an opportunity to water the seeds of joy, and watering those seeds of joy will naturally help the sadness and the worry to transform. Looking in the mirror, we talked about that. That is a very deep practice of insight. To see the true nature of your face that you are looking at, and at the same time to develop the capacity to look with compassion and to look in a very inclusive way. Taking a bath, taking a shower, washing your hands, washing your feet, in touch with the unborn and the undying nature of your own body, the non-self nature of your body as you wash it, is a wonderful opportunity. Washing clothes is something we don't do by hand very much, but when I first came to Plum Village, we did not have any washing machine. Every time you wash your clothes, you wash by hand. From time to time, to be able to wash clothes by hand, or a small amount of clothes by hand, is a wonderful practice. As you wash your clothes, you also feel you wash your mind. You see your grandmother's hand. My grandmother and my mother, they always had to wash clothes by hand, so I see them continuing in me. I remember the times when we were in India, we had to wash clothes in the river. It was such fun. I enjoyed so much. Using the toilet is also something we do many times a day, and every time we can see, well, did I dwell in mindfulness while using the toilet? Was I thinking about what I'm going to do next? And we can give ourselves a tick every time we use the toilet mindfully. Entering the meditation hall. The next one is sitting down at my desk. So every day, I don't know how many times you sit down at your desk, but that is something we do mindfully, as turning on our computer or whatever else we do. Being in touch with nature, and then it says listening to the birds singing, looking at the sky, listening to the rain. Oh, it's a wonderful practice, listening to the rain. We used to have a veranda in the upper hamlet called Listening to the Rain Veranda. Thai really enjoy the practice of listening to the rain. It's wonderful listening to the wind, listening to the rain outside, and knowing that we can sit inside and be warm and dry. The next one is called Keoge, and pulling your chair. I don't know what you say. Drawing your chair. I remember when we were in Thailand, we used to have on the Thursday monastic day, we should eat the midday meal in the dining room, sitting in our order of ordination. And we would sit on chairs. Everybody has their own chair. They don't have benches like you have in the dining room here. And then at the end of the meal, we would all offer the merit or send the energy. And then there would be sound of the small bell for everybody to stand up. And then the floor is made, I don't know what it's made of, but stone or cement or something. And then people drag their chair away from the table as they stood up, and there was a terrible noise. And so Shubha, he told us we have to practice when we stand up, not to drag the chair, but to lift the chair and stand up in such a way that it doesn't make any noise. So that was an important practice in Thailand after the meal, to stand up, lift the chair, and so on. But here you have benches, so sometimes you can make a lot of noise with a bench. And something, one time, now I will embarrass Sister Saknyam, huh? One time Sister Saknyam was sharing a room with me. And in my room I have the study desk and my chair. And when I stood up from my study desk, I would push my chair back. And very often I was not mindfulness, and I would forget to push it back in to my desk after I stood up. So the desk was here and the chair was here. Take up a lot of room in. And Sister Saknyam always had to come and put the chair back close to the desk. So after that I noticed after 2 or 3 times that happened, and from then on I'm being very careful after I get up from my chair to put it back in its proper place. So that is one of the things on this Kongfu sheet. The next one is very interesting. It's called waiting. So during our daily life we have to wait sometimes. I don't know what we have to wait for. If we come early, we have to wait for people who come late. Before we start to eat, we have to wait. While we're in the line to eat, we have to wait. So it's a very good practice, waiting. If you're in the car and stop at the traffic light, you have to wait. The next one is talking to your sisters. So also something we do many times, and we can talk with mindful speech or unmindful speech. So we have to do that. The next one is laughing and joking. I don't remember that we had laughing and joking when we were in Deer Park, but you've done. So have you been laughing and joking mindfully during the day? Huh? Drinking tea, chanting and touching the earth. This wonderful practice we do maybe once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. And the last one is lying peacefully. That is when you lie down on your bed. And in the Blooming of the Lotus, there's a new guided meditation that Thai gave us about let the Buddha rest. I don't need to rest. The Buddha is resting. I enjoy the resting. Peace while resting, joy while breathing, and so on. So that exercise helped me when I want to lie peacefully. Because sometimes my mind is go round and round, and I need to ask the Buddha, nature in me, to stop and to rest. So that's 30 things. Huh? Good luck. Enjoy your practice. Any questions? Ai hỏi gì không? Xong mới có hỏi gì không? Không có hả? Cái này là không hả? Thank you. We listen to 3 sounds of the bell.